Moments ago, Fan stood tall, but was swiftly obliterated by Quang Ti's devastating attack, sending him sliding backwards. Luan observed, horrified by the overwhelming power of Quang Ti's, fearing he had transformed into a monstrous force. Determined, Luan knew he would need to unleash the dragon inspiration and combine it with his claw to stand a chance against this formidable opponent. Meanwhile, standing beside Quang Ti's, the princess angrily demanded Fan's death, consumed by her fury. In response to the princess's command, Quang Ti's prepared to strike, pulling his staff free from the ground. However, before he could launch his attack, Waifu Dragon Xiao leapt through a window and transformed into her majestic dragon form, stunning both the princess and Quang Ti's. They could only mutter in disbelief. "It's a real dragon?" The chapter opened with the princess chastising Quang Ti's for his perceived weakness and urging him to endure as she began casting a spell. Yet, in an instant, Xiaoyi's roar echoed with such force that the princess was thrown back, her spell interrupted. Activating her own skill, Dragon Bloodline, Xiaoyi reduced incoming damage by 50%, gained immunity to debuffs, and enhanced her self-healing by 500%. With fierce determination, the dragon slammed Quang Ti's to the ground, rendering him powerless and reduced to pleading for mercy. Being the noble dragon that she was, Xiaoyi complied and hurled Quang Ti's towards the princess, his impact creating a crater upon landing on the road. As he lay there, apologizing for his weakness, Xiaoyi believed he should be apologizing to Ant and Lu Fan instead. Witnessing Quang Ti's pitiful state, the princess questioned if this was the true power of a real dragon. It dawned on her that other true dragons existed beyond the Jin family's feeble defensive lizards. Before she could recover from her shock, Lu Fan's voice called out to her, snapping her out of her thoughts. She watched as Lu Fan approached like a villain, gripping a large black machete in his right hand, daring her to strike him down in her fury. Startled, she took a step back and stumbled, falling in fear. "Stay away from me! You attacked my attendant, injured him, and humiliated me!" she screamed, tears streaming down her face. She warned Lu Fan of the consequences of his actions, branding him an enemy of the Taiki kingdom. To Lu Fan, it seemed like she was merely rambling, trying to play the victim like a typical Karen. Unfazed, he flexed his large black machete and asked if she thought she could scare him. Closing the distance between them, eyes burning with anger, he confronted the princess, accusing her of sending men to harm his family. "Don't think being some princess from the Taiki kingdom gives you immunity," Lu Fan declared coldly. "Even if you're a god, I'll make sure to repay you with interest." The princess trembled, realizing the gravity of her situation as Lu Fan raised his machete, poised to strike. But just as he prepared to deliver the blow, a voice called his name from a distance. It was Qin Shanhai, Little Qin's father, soaring toward them on a griffin. "Dad, it's dangerous!" Little Qin screamed, warning him of the perilous scene unfolding below. Xiaoyi noticed Qin Shanhai and began charging a massive fireball attack aimed in his direction. However, before she could unleash it, Lu Fan intervened, slashing the staff of the bratty princess with his machete. The dragon halted her attack, and Qin Shanhai landed safely on the ground. He urged Lu Fan to recall Xiaoyi, mindful of the surrounding residents who could be harmed by the escalating situation. Qin Shanhai marveled at the immense pressure emanating from the dragon, realizing true dragons were indeed in a league of their own.
Even the griffin showed signs of fear under Xiaoyi's overwhelming presence. Little Qin pleaded with Lu Fan to trust them, assuring him they were on his side. Heeding their words, Lu Fan called Xiaoyi back, and she transformed instantly into her humanoid form. Little Qin then grabbed Lu Fan's arm, urging him to follow her, while Qin Shanhai addressed the princess, questioning her actions and mentioning he had come to pick them up at the airport. Unaware of the current turmoil, he mentioned that the Qin family driver would be here soon to take them to the hospital. The scene then shifts to inside the bun shop, where Ed explains that Little Qin's father knows the bratty princess and might be able to resolve the conflict. Little Qin called her father and informed him about the current situation, prompting his arrival, Lu Fan remarked, foreseeing the princess's persistence. As they discussed, Qin Shanhai entered and acknowledged his understanding of the situation, jesting that Lu Fan seemed to attract trouble effortlessly. Lu Fan apologized for the incident but clarified that this time, the fault lay with the bratty princess. The aunt inquired how today's events would be handled. Qin Shanhai explained that both the princess and Kuang Tis had been taken to the hospital and emphasized the need to explain matters to the Jin family. He noted the Jin family's substantial business influence and their connections in the kingdom's upper echelons. Concerned, the aunt wondered if Lu Fan would face repercussions for striking them despite their power. Even if she holds immense power, it doesn't matter. I won't compromise my dignity for a dragon's favor, Lu Fan asserted confidently. Impressed by Lu Fan's integrity, Qin Shanhai praised him and assured him of his protection. While casually smoking, he disclosed that he couldn't handle the situation alone and presented a condition. What condition? Lu Fan asked. To achieve the position of South Province champion in the grand exam, Qin Shanhai replied, pointing his cigarette at Lu Fan. He explained that if Lu Fan surpassed countless top students to become the champion, he would support him in dealing with the bratty princess until the exam concluded. Upon hearing this, Little Qin noted the challenge ahead, considering the competition across the entire South Province. Only if you surpass them and become the champion will I be able to assist you, Qin Shanhai added with a determined nod. With a determined expression, Lu Fan agreed to Qin Shanhai's condition. The scene then shifted to the hospital where the bratty princess stormed about angrily, shouting into her phone. She accused Qin Shanhai of favoring Lu Fan because he hadn't been apprehended yet. On the other end of the call, someone tried to placate the princess, promising to contact high-ranking officials to resolve the situation. Unappeased, the princess demanded they exert pressure on the officials, asserting her authority and vowing to kill Lu Fan. Clearly, she hadn't learned her lesson. But who could challenge our Giga Chad MC with his dragon waifu by his side? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The scene then transitioned to the next day at 3rd Middle School, just before the South Province Grand Exam. Students gathered in the playground, sizing each other up and forming groups. Suddenly, all eyes turned as Lu Fan returned to the school. Some speculated he had returned to sell steamed buns, while others dismissed him, labeling him as trash despite his previous academic brilliance. Nevertheless, Lu Fan was no longer the same. Though nostalgic for old gossip, he couldn't be bothered with petty squabbles anymore. The Grandmaster's voice cut through the murmurs, commanding the students to settle down as he announced the imminent start of the South Province Grand Exam. Lu Fan stood among them, reflecting that even after self-improving to level 15, he hadn't yet utilized the daily treasure maps he received. Lu Fan stood contemplating the intermediate-level treasure maps he had accumulated, pondering how to combine them into a high-level one for better preparation ahead of the big exam. Lost in thought, he was interrupted by someone calling his name, asking if he too was participating in the upcoming grand exam. Turning around, he saw his teacher approaching. Lu Fan nodded affirmatively, explaining that he had been diligently training to enhance his strength. Impressed, the teacher handed him a teleportation stone, praising his dedication and noting his strong fighting spirit, which rivaled that of seasoned professionals. Smiling, Lu Fan examined the stone he now held. It was of rare quality and had specific functionalities. In the trial's secret realm, it teleported the user to the first floor of the Heavenly Tower. In the Heavenly Tower itself, it transported the user to the trial's secret realm platform. After inspecting the stone, the teacher cautioned Lu Fan about the gravity of the exam. Though it was just a test, any misstep could lead to injury or worse. Advising caution, he urged Lu Fan to find a reliable teammate for the trial. If things became too challenging, he should use the teleportation stone to exit safely rather than risking further complications. Lu Fan smiled at his teacher and replied confidently, "It's okay, teacher." After the teacher departed, some students nearby began gossiping about Lu Fan, questioning his abilities and background. Lu Fan paid them no mind, focusing instead on his goal, not just to pass the trial, but to come in first place, as he had promised Qin Shanhai. In the next moment, someone called out to Lu Fan. Turning around, he saw Little Qin approaching with another girl. Lu Fan wondered if this new girl could potentially become his third waifu. What do you all think? Let me know in the comments below. Lu Fan asked if the new girl was Little Qin's teammate. She confirmed and introduced her as her best friend, Zhao Man, a level 1 combat professional swordsman. Zhao Man greeted Lu Fan warmly, but before she could say much, Little Qin interrupted, asking Lu Fan if he would like to team up with them for the trial. Zhao Man was taken aback by the proposal. To Little Chin's surprise, Lu Fan politely declined, explaining that he intended to participate in the exam alone. He acknowledged Little Chin's desire to help but emphasized that this was a personal condition he had set for himself. With a wave, Lu Fan bid farewell to the girls and headed towards the exam site. Little Chin felt a twinge of disappointment, realizing she had missed an opportunity to work with the boy of her dreams. Nonetheless, she wished him luck, believing that with his strength level, anyone who teamed up with Lu Fan at this point would only hold him back. After Lu Fan left, Zhao Man questioned Little Chin about why she invited someone from the weakest profession to team up with Lu Fan. Little Chin confidently defended Lu Fan, stating that he was strong and would undoubtedly become the top scorer in the southern province, whether Zhao Man believed it or not. Zhao Man was surprised by Little Chin's assertion and jokingly asked if she was falling in love with Lu Fan, noticing her flushed cheeks. Little Chin quickly denied it, claiming she was just imagining things, though her blush betrayed her true feelings. Zhao Man teased her further, pointing out her reddened cheeks as she continued to protest. The scene shifted to the Grand Exam Trial Secret Realm. Lu Fan walked confidently through the portal, remarking, "This is where it all begins." On a large screen, the principal announced the division of portals into 4 levels: normal, hard, fear, and nightmare. Each level corresponded to different challenges, with candidates entering the Heavenly Tower via the teleportation stone distributed by their teacher earlier. The normal level featured projections without fatal consequences, with a score multiplier of 0.9x. From the hard level onwards, all challenges involved real monsters, and using the teleportation stone allowed students to safely exit while preserving their scores. The score multiplier for the hard level was 1.0x. It appeared that most students opted for the hard level, as the higher realms were typically chosen by those in hidden professions. The principal continued his explanation, cautioning that the higher realms like fear were considered suicidal for normal professions due to the ferocity of the monsters. He emphasized that solo challenges in these realms were not recommended, urging students to prioritize their safety over score sharing. The score multiplier for the fear realm was 3.0x. Amidst the instructions, a voice rang out confidently as Hong Wu, a Qigong master at level 14, declared he would set the highest score in the exam. Xiaoman noted his reputation as the top expert at their school and a top 5 contender in the province. Zhao Man explained that Qigong masters were versatile, excelling in both offense and defense. She mentioned Hong Wu's plan to solo the hard realm challenge. Other students resigned themselves, acknowledging they couldn't compete and would aim for lower rankings. The scene shifted to the principal's office, where screens displayed various students. The principal of number 1 middle school chuckled, praising Hong Wu as their most formidable student, confident in his victory and potential as the top scorer. He also commended Little Chin, suggesting she could rank in the top 3. Lu Fan's principal expressed regret, believing Lu Fan could have taken first place if he had awakened another hidden profession. Lost in thought, Qin Shanhai hinted that he had a promising candidate in mind for the top spot. The principal expressed optimism about his candidate for the top spot. When asked who he meant, Qin Shanhai confidently named Lu Fan, the Dragon Tamer from O3 school. Lu Fan's principal was stunned by this revelation, while the principal from number 1 school noted that all students had already entered the Heavenly Tower except Lu Fan. He questioned if Lu Fan was giving up on the exam, laughing incredulously and dismissing Lu Fan as just a Dragon Tamer. Pointing at the scoreboard, he highlighted that Hong Wu was already on the 4th floor and likely leading in scores. Lu Fan's principal suddenly realized something and, with a shocked expression, explained that Lu Fan wasn't giving up. He was waiting for the portal of the highest difficulty level to appear, the Nightmare Trial. The principal from number 1 school erupted, shouting that the Nightmare Trial was a one-way path and that Lu Fan was overly confident. As if on cue, the Nightmare Trial portal appeared in the sky, displaying a daunting score multiplier of 9.9x. Despite protests, Lu Fan prepared to enter the trial realm with a smile. The principal from number 1 school grew increasingly concerned, noting that no one who had dared the Nightmare Trial in the past 8 years had returned unharmed. The last challenger had met a grisly fate, devoured by ferocious beasts, which the principal described as a miserable death. Principal Bai of number 1 school questioned whether Lu Fan had been properly educated about the rules of the grand exam, asserting that the Dragon Tamer was surely doomed. He criticized Qin Shanhai's judgment, suggesting Lu Fan couldn't compare to Hongwu at all. In response, Qin Shanhai winked, suggesting they focus on observing the Qigong master's performance instead. He urged patience, stating it was too early to draw conclusions and suggesting they observe a bit longer without making hasty deductions. Principal Bai pressed Qin Shanhai on why he trusted Lu Fan so much. As they debated, Lu Fan entered the first floor of the nightmare trial. Moments later, a paw emerged from the dense fog towards Lu Fan, followed by several pairs of glowing red eyes surrounding him. In an instant, he found himself encircled by monsters. Lu Fan swiftly drew his big black machete and assumed a defensive stance, estimating there were at least 10 creatures closing in on him. From the fog emerged black mane wolves, each at level 10. Their bite attacks inflicted continuous bleeding damage, while their skill Night Howl enhanced their allies' attributes and reset their cooldowns. One of the wolves roared and lunged at Lu Fan. Maintaining his composure, Lu Fan countered with Dragon Fang Strike. Lu Fan effortlessly sliced through all the black mane wolves with a single attack, leaving them in smoldering ruins. The notification promptly announced his completion of the first floor of the Nightmare Trial Sky Tower, awarding him an instant 990 points. The principal of No. 1 Middle School was astonished. One-hit kill. What's the deal with this Lu Fan? He's ridiculously strong, he exclaimed. The other principals agreed, noting that Lu Fan's attributes clearly surpassed his peers. Principal Bai pondered aloud if Lu Fan had perhaps encountered the legendary dragon. With 990 points, Lu Fan surged to the second position on the scoreboard. Meanwhile, in the surveillance room where the directors of No. 1 Middle School were monitoring, a figure in a detective suit entered. The person had one hand casually in their pocket and held a briefcase in the other, sporting a cap and glasses. The directors found it hard to believe Lu Fan had dispatched the wolves with a single blow. The detective's abrupt entrance drew everyone's attention. Upon hearing his voice, Qin Shanhai turned alertly to face him. Introducing himself as Kong Xing, a special representative from Longdu, he stated he was here to investigate someone and take them back to Longdu. He removed his cap and fixed his gaze on Qin Shanhai, inquiring about the Dragon Master, Lu Fan. A window displaying Kong Xing's statistics revealed he was level 57 specialized in combat. Meanwhile, Lu Fan proceeded in the Nightmare Trial, methodically cutting through vines with his big black machete. With one hand manipulating the machete and the other navigating the system map that had appeared before him, Lu Fan continued his journey through the treacherous trial. Feeling a rush of satisfaction, Lu Fan realized he had found the exact location marked on his treasure map as indicated by a system window. Another prompt followed, notifying him that a high-level treasure map had been created. Excitement bubbled within Lu Fan as he examined the system map. The high-level treasure map he had prepared before entering the trial realm pinpointed the first floor of the Celestial Tower. Pressing onward, Lu Fan skillfully cut through thorny plants obstructing his path and stumbled upon a book. He reached out and grasped it, triggering an alert window on his screen announcing his acquisition of a skill book named Accelerated Growth. The book radiated a soft glow, its cover adorned with several embedded gems. According to the statistics window, Accelerated Growth was a highly valuable skill book that taught a passive ability to enhance growth rates. Specifically, it boosted pet experience gain by 100%. Curious and eager, Lu Fan promptly opened the book, unleashing a surge of potent energy that enveloped his body. He immediately felt the effects of the skill, enhancing his own growth capabilities. He envisioned the skill's potential utility for nurturing nocturnal creatures like Xiaoyi, whose leveling progress he found frustratingly slow in the morning village. Clenching his fist, empowered by the newfound ability, Lu Fan resolved to make the most of his discovery as he continued his journey through the Celestial Tower. With the newfound passive skill, Lu Fan anticipated Xiaoyi's accelerated leveling. Meanwhile, in the room where Director Bai, Shanhai, and Chang Sheng observed Lu Fan through a screen, Kong Xing urged Director Bai to interrupt Lu Fan's trial and summon him back immediately due to his status as a student of their school. Director Bai regarded Kong Xing seriously and explained that they should wait until after the exams were concluded, regardless of the urgency of the matter. He asserted his readiness to take responsibility for Lu Fan's actions as head of the Third Institute. Kong Xing responded that while Director Bai could shoulder responsibility for Lu Fan, he couldn't spare Lu Fan from any potential repercussions. Perplexed, Director Bai asked Kong Xing to clarify what consequences he was referring to. Shanhai intervened, stepping forward and gently urging Chang Sheng to reconsider due to their long-standing friendship. He implored him to pay attention to the situation unfolding. An official from No. 1 Middle School interjected, questioning Lu Fan's involvement. Kong Xing swiftly turned and applied subtle pressure, causing Shanhai to release Chang Sheng's arm, leaving him momentarily confused. Kong Xing rebuked Shanhai for interfering and warned him not to approach him again during his task. He added that any interference could anger the Jin family and top Dragon Clan members, though he didn't understand why Shanhai was defending the Dragon Tamer. Shanghai remained silent, his expression serious as he locked eyes with Kong Xing. Without another word, Kong Xing turned away, pushing Shanghai aside with a firm hand and reiterating his demand for Director Bai to summon Lu Fan. Shanghai's mention of their old friendship briefly caught Kong Xing's attention. Shanghai calmly retrieved a cigarette, lit it, and took a slow drag. He then addressed Kong Xing, hinting at the intricate connections between high-ranking officials in Longdu and the influential Jin family, complicating matters significantly for both the Dragon Kingdom and the Tai Chi Kingdom. He asserted confidently that once Lu Fan's secrets were revealed, the influence of these powerful figures would diminish. With a serious gaze, Shanghai declared that no one would take Lu Fan away today. Kong Xing, visibly incensed, retorted sharply, dismissing Shanghai's remarks about Lu Fan hiding something. Accusing Shanghai of defiance against his authority as an envoy, Kong Xing turned to leave. Before he could move away, Shanghai firmly grasped his arm, asserting that he would stand by his actions even if they were deemed excessive. Tension crackled between them as the system window indicated Qin Shunhai is a level 57 knight and Kong Xing is a level 57 swordsman. "I will report your actions to the higher-ups in Longdu," Kong Xing replied angrily. Director Bai intervened, urging them not to disrupt the important exam in progress. Qin Shunhai then prodded Kong Xing, asking if he wasn't curious about Lu Fan's secret, something that could shock both the leaders of Longdu and the Jin family. Realizing Lu Fan was currently in the nightmare level, Kong Xing was visibly taken aback. Meanwhile, Lu Fan stood before a gate, contemplating how far he could push himself relying solely on his abilities. With the newly acquired passive skill, he decided it was time to summon Xiaoyi early to maximize their experience gain. As he summoned the dragon with a resounding call, both Director Bai and Kong Xing were stunned by its sudden appearance. Kong Xing struggled for words, finally managing to mutter, This is a dragon." The dragon let out a mighty roar and struck at the gate with its claw. Watching the dragon's attack, Qin Shunhai couldn't help but sweat. Though he had witnessed it before, seeing it again was still profoundly shocking. In the next moment, the dragon completely demolished the door, sending rubble flying everywhere. Turning to everyone in the room, Qin Shunhai asked pointedly if they now understood Lu Fan's secret, as everyone present was visibly affected by the dragon's appearance. Pointing towards the screen, Qin Shunhai declared that Lu Fan was the first Dragon Tamer in history to possess a real dragon. Principal Bai, still stunned, managed to utter, "Lu Fan really summoned a giant dragon." They continued watching the screen where Lu Fan was progressing through the Nightmare Trial's second floor. His dragon unleashing torrents of flame that engulfed everything in sight. Massive flames roared around, and Lu Fan effortlessly dispatched giant plant monsters. In an instant, the notification announced that the second floor was cleared. Watching Lu Fan's display of power, the principal of the first middle school marveled at the might of a true Dragon Tamer. As they continued to watch in shock, the two men behind Qin Shunhai agreed, emphasizing that without the third transformation, no one would be able to compete with Lu Fan. They both expressed their terror at the thought of the dragon's potential after further leveling up, believing it could single-handedly devastate an entire country. The sheer power of the dragon left them speechless. With Lu Fan's completion of the second floor, he soared to the top of the leaderboard with 50,000 points. Hongwu followed in second place with 27,550 points, while Little Qin and Dao Xiaoman tied for third with 12,570 points each. Lu Fan continued his ascent through the tower, effortlessly conquering each floor with the aid of his dragon. Now, the scene shifted to Lu Fan on the 13th floor of the Nightmare Trial, where his dragon ruthlessly dispatched monsters while Lu Fan himself delivered powerful slashes with his big black machete. He showed no mercy as he swiftly cleared the floor, prompting a notification that the 13th floor was now completed. Principal Jin marveled at Lu Fan's miraculous increase in strength, noting that his various attributes must now all exceed 100 points. He speculated that even without summoning the giant dragon, Lu Fan could easily rank first in Zhenghai City. Qin Shunhai turned to Kong Xing and asked pointedly, now that he had witnessed the incredible power of a real dragon, did he still intend to bring Lu Fan before the higher-ups? Kong Xing replied, acknowledging that witnessing the dragons might had changed his perspective. He now understood why Qin Shunhai dared to defy the Jin family. As Lu Fan ascended to the 20th floor of the Nightmare Trial, he found himself in a dark corridor illuminated only by a distant purple light. As he stood there, a dark sacrifice approached him, casting a menacing magic spell. The creature, a level 15 entity, possessed various formidable abilities. According to the status window that appeared, Dark Control allowed the creature to exert full command over the dark knights that fall. Black Curse decreased all target attributes by 50% while simultaneously increasing all friendly target attributes by 25%. Merge into Darkness enabled the creature and its allies to blend into the shadows, rendering them immune to all attacks for 15 seconds. Dark Control allowed the creature to exert full command over the dark knights that followed behind it. Lu Fan assessed the situation calmly, his mind racing with strategies on how to confront this powerful opponent. He knew that facing such a foe would require precision and skill. As Lu Fan stood victorious on the 20th floor of the Nightmare Trial, surrounded by the aftermath of the fiery devastation caused by Xiao Yi's lava blaze attack, he felt a surge of accomplishment. The entire floor lay in ruins, with enemies reduced to ash and the air thick with the remnants of magical flames. The notifications flooded in, updating him on the progress. Xiao Yi's lava blaze attack had cleared the 20th floor, earning Lu Fan additional points and experience. The Black Dragon's level had increased to 11 due to the bottle's intensity and the accelerated growth effect. Lu Fan himself had reached level 16, reflecting his growing strength and mastery. His score soared to an impressive 90,000 points, firmly securing his lead in the grand exam. With a satisfied smile, Lu Fan addressed Xiao Yi, his faithful dragon companion, affirming their partnership in conquering the Heavenly Tower together. The scene shifted dramatically to the 50th floor of the Fear Trial, where Hongwu's explosive prowess had just cleared the floor in a blaze of determination and power. His accomplishment echoed through a new notification, announcing the completion of this challenging level. Reflecting on the intense difficulty of this year's grand examination, Hongwu contemplated the fierce monsters, noting they should normally appear on much higher floors, around the 70th level. Despite the formidable challenges ahead, Hongwu remained resolute in his ambition to claim the top position in the Southern Province examination. He dismissed Qin Shanghai as his only significant competition due to her team status, which would split her points. In a display of confidence that bordered on arrogance, Hongwu laughed triumphantly, urging his principal to keep watching his stellar performance. He even suggested that preparations should begin for his admission to the top 10 academies, showcasing his unwavering self-assurance. Meanwhile, the principals in the monitoring room remained fixated on Lu Fan's progress, acknowledging the significant hurdle presented by the 50th floor of the Tower of Letters in the Fear Trial. Principal Jin emphasized that this level historically posed a challenge for all Southern Province scholars, implying its critical importance in separating the exceptional from the merely competent. As the narratives of Hongwu and Lu Fan unfolded in parallel, the contrast between their approaches to the exam and their characters became increasingly apparent, setting the stage for further developments and challenges ahead in the competition.
The scene changes to a loud explosion on the 50th floor of the Fear Trial. It was Hongwu's doing. A new notification appears, announcing that the 50th floor has been cleared. He thought that it was a misfortune that this year's grand examination was truly perverse. He wondered that these monsters should be at least on the 70th floor of the trial. He believed that regardless of the toughness of the challenge, he will be the first place and Qin Ke will be her only close competition, but she is in a team and her points will be halved. He affirmed that the title of the top scholar in the Southern Province examination is destined to be him. He started laughing while asking his principal to keep watching his performance. He continued saying that the principal should now contact the heads of top 10 academies to prepare for his admission. Wow, this guy is truly delusional and self-centered. The principals in the room were not even looking at him and continued watching Lu Fan. The principal Jean said that the Tower of Letters' 50th floor is a considerable hurdle. In the past, all the Southern Province scholars stumbled at this hurdle. The principal of the first middle school adds in saying that this level is watershed even if Lu Fan passes this level. His pace will be much slower for the next levels as the difficulty will rise from this level. The scene changes to Lu Fan standing at the 50th level of the Nightmare Trial. The area is filled with heavy snow. Lu Fan is checking the status window of Xiao Yi. The status window shows that she has learned a new skill. This new skill is called Shape Transformation. It will allow her to change into 4 different forms. The forms she can change are Young Dragon form. This form increases all the attributes and the consumption is reduced by 50%. The second form is called Dragon Maiden form. This form is changed due to the blood pact with Lu Fan. Damn, I like this phone. She should always stay in this one. I think this is the main waifu form she always takes. The third one is Destruction Dragon Open form. This phone decreases this strength by 50%, but increases the spirit by 100%. In this form, she will also acquire new skills named Daylight Incineration and Lava Eruption. The last available form is World-Ending Water form. In this form, the spirit is reduced by 50%, but the strength is increased by 100%. The skills acquired in this form are Earthbend and Fearful Roar. While he was busy checking the status window, the stones around him started moving and formed a shape of big creature with a red glaring eye at him. There were total of 3 monsters. The status window informs that this entity is Amethyst Mountain Giant. Its level is 20 and it has many scales including Mountain Arm Landslide and Amethyst Rock. The Mountain Rock skill deals a massive amount of damage in front by swinging the rock arm. The Amethyst Rock skill reduced the magic damage received by 50%, and it makes the monster immune to armor-piercing effects. Looking at the situation, Principal Jean questioned that how is he going to fight 3 nightmare bosses at the same time. The principal of First Middle School also added saying that he knew that the 50th floor would slow Lu Fan's speed of climbing the tower. He thought that Lu Fan's score is already high enough that he is first in Zhanghai City. According to him, it is very likely that this score will make him the top scholar of the Southern Province. He invades saying that Lu Fan is such a promising student, and why is he not from the First Middle School? The scene changes to the 50th floor, where the monsters were about to attack our boy, Lu Fan. The status window showed that the monsters are using Mountain's arm attack. The attack was about to reach Lu Fan, while he was thinking that reaching halfway up the tower of ladder the difficulty has increased from previous floors. Since the difficulty is increased, he should also raise his power. In the meantime, Xiaoya blocked the incoming attack with her left hand, and Lu Fan was standing in the middle of the attack without even breaking a sweat. He ordered Xiaoya to try the World Ender form. She instantly roared in agreement. And in the next moment, the dragon's body was surrounded by the red flames. Looking at the transformation, Principal Jin said that Lu Fan is preparing for something while the dragon was starting to emerge in her new form. Xiaoya's new form was indeed a cool one. Her entire body was off-pitch black color with menacing red eyes. The system then informed about the successful transformation. The dragon's strength was increased from 456 to 2912, and her spirit decreased from 1424 to 712. She also gained 2 new scales, Earth Shatterer and World Ending. All the people in the monitoring room were amazed by the dragon's transformation. Principal Jean questioned what? This dragon can also switch combat forms? Qin Shunhai was also surprised with this new development and said that such a transformation sends shiver down his spine. The scene changes to our boy Lu Fan. The monster was about to attack from behind, but he instantly saw the attack coming and dodged dead without any effort by jumping into air. He used Dragon Inspiration skill, which inspired him and the dragon, resulting in increasing all attributes and attack power by 10%. He ordered Xiao Yi to launch Mighty Jaw Assault on one of the monsters. With this attack, the dragon instantly shattered one of the monster's head. Watching this scene, the principal of First Middle School was shocked and said that a level 20 boss was shattered just like that. Looking at the situation, Principal Jean assumed that to shatter the defense of the Amethyst Mountain Giant, the POW that attack launched by the dragon must have to exceed 2,000 points. While the first monster was getting shattered, the second monster tried to grab Lu Fan, but he easily maneuvered his body to avoid the grasp of the monster. Then, he used Dragon Claw to launch an attack on the monster, which resulted in a big explosion. Qin Shanhai then questioned Old Qian that now looking at Lu Fan's strength, Don't he feel fortunate that he stopped him from taking Lu Fan away? Old Qian was out of words and couldn't say anything in response to this question. He was focusing on the ongoing battle. Lu Fan was effortlessly dodging all the attacks of the monster, and then the dragon launched world-ending roar, which added vulnerability effect to the monster. Lu Fan then announced that he will deliver the final blow, but to his surprise, the dragon had already launched Earth Shatter skill, which caused a message damage to the entire area and opened a large black pit, and the monster fell into it. The system then announced that the black dragon leveled up to level 12 and Lu Fan leveled up to level 6. Lu Fan was extremely happy with this outcome and thought that choosing the nightmare level was indeed the correct choice. He continued thinking that the difficulty is easy for him as long as it rises with each level, because he will also grow stronger after clearing every level. Then the notification announced that the 50th floor was conquered successfully, and he started walking toward the portal to go to next floor, and the dragon was following right behind him. After witnessing the battle, Queen Shanghai said that it seems that so-called 50th floor watershed poses no difficulty for Lu Fan. The principal of First Middle School added, saying, "The dragon strength exceeded his understanding." Principal Jen then questioned Special Envoy Qian about his extensive experience in the Dragon City to discern the terrifying numerical value of the dragon strength attribute. After changing the form to this question, he answered saying that he has seen many big shots in Dragon City take action, and if he compare the power to those guys, the strength attribute of this dragon, after changing form, must be at least 500 points. At this statement, the principal of First Middle School was surprised and shouted, 500 points. Aren't our levels and attributes not worth mentioning? Principal Jean then thought that as he previously anticipated, the attributes of the dragon will only be more, not less. The principal of First Middle School then said that since they have passed the 50th floor, the X+1 mode will gradually become apparent. S+1 Quinching Hai questioned. Yes, the S+1 mode was established by the scholar who first designed the trial tower. Principal Jean started explaining. He continued saying that, after the examinees boss the 50th floor, every floor with a large number of ordinary monsters will encounter one boss floor. This makes the trial more like a real secret realm. The examines will constantly be in mortal danger. However, in the nightmare level tower of the ladder, whether it's X or 1, all have been replaced with the nightmare level bosses. He continued his explanation saying in the nightmare mode X+1, where the boss is not singular but multiple at a time, the attributes of each boss will also increase exponentially. At this explanation, Qin Shanhai replied, saying that indeed it sounded formidable, but they should keep paying attention to Lu Fan. He said that for Lu Fan, there is no need to ponder over the intricacies of X+1, while the scene showed Lu Fan fighting fiercely and defeating another boss with his big black machete. The dragon was chewing another boss's head, and the notification window informed that the level 70 has been cleared. With this, the dragon leveled up to 13th, and Lu Fan's level rises to 18th. Qin Shanhai continued saying that it was evident that the ladder tower from the 50th floor onward has been designed with increasing difficulty. However, with the World Ender Dragon Xiao Yi by his side, there was no need for strategies to pass this grand test. Lu Fan started walking while wiping his mouth and asked Xiao Yi to follow his lead, and she agreed with the role while splitting the dead monster's head in half. Witnessing this spectacle, Principal Jean said that in just a matter of minutes, Lu Fan has already reached the 78th floor. The principal of the First Middle School agreed, saying that to be honest, this year's letter tower was the most challenging it has ever been. He said he had his doubts about whether anyone could break through the 80s with such a design, but now it seems he was thinking too simply, and the scene showed the rampage of world-ending dragon, which was spitting fire from its mouth, and the monster bosses were running for their life. Then the notification announced that the 76th floor was cleared. The next floor's boss was a giant worm, which was about to attack Lu Fan. He used Dragon Blood Armor transformation and killed the boss instantly with the single attack while the dragon was holding its head with her right hand. After killing this boss monster, the dragon rises to level 14, and Lu Fan's level raised to 19. The system notification informed that 83 the floor was cleared successfully. Principal Jean then said that in the past, many geniuses push themselves to their limit for the reward of clearing the tower, but in the end, they only get exhausted and perished in the grand trial. In response to Principal Jin's statement, Qin Shanhai said that when the candidates reaches the 70s on 80's floor, just steps away from the ultimate reward of the grand test. Principal Jean then pointed toward the scoreboard and declared that Lu Fan is different. He might be the only candidate in the last decade or so capable of clearing all 100 floors. The principal of first middle school cut off Principal Jean, saying that although the bosses of each level are not as powerful as in the original secret rooms, they should not forget the difficulty of the 99th floor is high. Then the other principal in the room pointed at the screens and announced that Lu Fan has reached the 99th floor. The scene that changes to the 99th floor of the Nightmare Trial, Lu Fan was walking in a broken building. He reached a point where the stairs were leading to a big throne, and it was surrounded by shadows holding weapons. Notes a closer look revealed that there were 4 knights standing beside a broken throne. All of these knights were headless and were ready to attack anyone coming their way. When Lu Fan got a little closer, the candles in the room were lit all at once. There were also blue flames on the heads of all the knights, which indicated that they are aware of his presence and were ready to deal with him. The notification window then informed that the soldiers were called World Enders. The Headless Knight, they were all level 55. They had multiple scales including World Ender Penetration, in which the knight hit the target with a penetration effect and deals an additional 400% damage. The second skill was World Ender Counterattack. This kill was triggered when any knight takes any damage, and the Longsword Knight Counterattack is triggered automatically. The third skill they had were World Ender Thunder. The Twin Sword Knight was imbued with lightning, which increased attack speed and added extra lightning damage to the attack. The fourth skill, World Ender Beheading, in which the Great Axe Knight locks onto a target and instantly kills it when the target's health drops below 57%. The last skill they had was Night Oath. With the scale, all 4 knights shared their health and defense, which also resulted in boosted health and defense by 400%. Looking at the knights, Lu Fan thought that from the Shattered Kingdom, the Headless Knights, the secret room is quite famous. All the secret rooms were designed from real history, like the formation of the Morning Village. The Shattered Kingdom came to be hundreds of years ago when the Undead Legion invaded and the king was slain by them. While Lu Fan was thinking this, the knight with the axe already charged at him with World Ender Beheading attack. To counter all these attacks, Lu Fan thought that the most reliable method to clear this trial is to focus fire on one knight and control all the others. Without control skills at his disposal, he can only attack all 4 of them at once to clear the trial. He instantly jumped high in the air above all the knights and prepared to attack. The knights instantly launched a counter-attack with the World and Penetration, but Lu Fan deflected all the penetration attacks with his big black machete. Then, getting an opportunity, he attacked one of the knight with the slash. But to his surprise, a blue flame healed the knight. This attack triggered the World and the counterattack condition. And the knight, with this word, launched a heavy attack toward Lu Fan. But he successfully blocked the attack with his big black machete and yelled, "Now is the time." Hearing this, Xiao Yi sprang into action and launched a big fire attack which tore through the castle. The entire castle was in flames. Lu Fan and Xiao Yi was standing at the edge of the broken floor, which broke due to the attack of the dragon. Lu Fan praised Xiao Yi for the good attack. The knight with dual swords yelled, "For my king!" and rushed toward Lu Fan while launching World Ender Thunderbolt attack. He demanded that Lu Fan should pay with his life. But Lu Fan was not a weakling. Our Gigachad boy blocked this incoming attack with his big black machete. The spark from weapons colliding were covering the entire field. Taking advantage of this stalemate, all the other knight rushed to attack Lu Fan. He jumped away in time to avoid all the attacks. Lu Fan, that he can't continue to linger in this floor, and he must quickly head to the 100th floor. He commanded Xiao Yi to get ready for the big attack, and the dragon started charging the skill. At Lu Fan's command, she launched lava blaze toward all the knights. With this, the chapter ends here. I hope that you liked today's video, and if you did, hit that like button as today's like goal is 100 likes. Comment next part down below for the next part. Also, consider subscribing with the notification bell on to get notified as soon as a new video drops onto the channel. I'll meet you in the next video. Until then, thanks for watching.